What's up, everybody? This is Rossclaw222, aka Excalibur. I want to make a video, and this is just part one. I want to talk about fantasy fights and the way a lot of these channels disrespect the past fighters. And I spoke on this before, but I just want to pick a specific topic on fantasy fights and how it plays out, because we have a plethora of YouTube uploaders out there who speak very highly of today's boxers, and at the same breath they disrespect the past fighters. You know, they say things like there's no footage of certain fighters, or they say I've seen the footage and these fighters don't look good. You know, just stuff like that. So I kind of want to touch on one of the main things that I notice when it comes to fantasy fights. Now, and that is putting past fighters in the most uncomfortable position. And I said this before when I spoke on this before about Muhammad Ali, when fans who dislike Muhammad Ali, they put Muhammad Ali in the most uncomfortable position, making it seem like it's almost impossible for him to win. But you know, that's another topic. So they do this with past fighters, and they put them in the most uncomfortable position as if this is how it would be. Okay, for instance, right? If these guys, and I've seen this before, let's say we have Willie. Okay, I'll use Willie Pep for an example. Okay, Willie Pep versus who can I say? Willie Pep versus Gary Russell Jr. Okay, let me put Gary Russell Jr. versus Willie Pep. All right. One of the things they'll say is, they'll say this. They'll say Gary Russell Jr. is modern day training. Then they'll say Gary Russell Jr. will outweigh Willie Pep by 15 pounds. And then they'll say things like the gloves will be bigger, and they'll say the crowd will be, pro Gary Russell. They'll say things like that, right? They'll say that Gary Russell is using modern day training, modern day diet, modern day supplements. They make all these stupid accusations as if that's how it would be. But it wouldn't be. If you were to put Gary Russell, because this is what it is. They don't want to put today's fighters in an uncomfortable position. So they put the past fighters in an uncomfortable position, right? This is what they do. And I've said this time and time again. If you were to put Floyd Mayweather in a 147 bout against Carmen Basilio back then, Floyd wouldn't be a side. Floyd wouldn't be able to pick the judges, pick the ring size, pick the gloves, pick the referee. It wouldn't play out that way. Because if you guys want to put fighters in the past in an uncomfortable position, like if we did a Gary Russell versus Willie Pep, then how come we can't put the fighters today in a more realistic situation? In a more realistic situation, Floyd Mayweather might have to fight at a venue where there isn't any black people in the crowd. As a matter of fact, he might fight in a position where his own corner might not be able to go with him to the fight. And that's just the reality. That is just the reality. You guys have to stop trying to put fighters in the past in the most uncomfortable position because subconsciously you know that your fighter today isn't as good as the fighters of the past. And not all of them, but the majority of them, in my opinion, they are. How do I know this? Because these guys fight each other and they proved it. They prove it. You can't tell me that Boo Boo Andrade would beat Rocky Graciano or Jake LaMotta or Gene Fulmer or Dick Tiger just because he's in a modern era and he gets to rehydrate after weighing in at 160 to about 175, 180 pounds. It wouldn't go that way. He would fight in the same day era. He would fight in the same day era. Same day weigh-in era. And that's how it would be. You can't take a fighter from today and automatically put him in a position where he's going to be the bigger person, where he's going to have the modern day training. That's not how it works. Because if we're going to play that game, then we're going to put these fighters respectively in the weight class that they should be fighting. So Benavidez probably would be a light heavyweight, probably, and I'm not exaggerating, a heavyweight back then. And Benavidez will have to fight Jack Dempsey. Benavidez will have to fight Gene Tunney, Joe Louis, Jersey Joe Walcott, okay? And you mean to tell me the modern day era, that's who he... If you put a fighter today, Caleb Plant, I like Caleb Plant. He wouldn't be a super middleweight back then. He would most likely fight at light heavyweight. And he would have to fight Ezra Charles, Harold Washington, Archie Moore. And he's getting knocked out. Do you understand? I just got a phone call, so let me repeat myself. If you put Caleb Plant in the era back then, he wouldn't be a super middleweight. He would be a light heavyweight. And he would have to fight Harold Johnson, Ezra Charles, Archie Moore, and he would get knocked out. Stop trying to put fighters in the past in the most uncomfortable position. Just because you know subconsciously that your fighter isn't good enough. I heard a guy say Triple G is a small middleweight today. He's a small middleweight. So if he fought in the era back then, he would be close to his weight class. And he would still be bigger than Rocky Graciano. And he would be bigger than, Sugar Ray Robinson at middleweight. And all this nonsense. No, he wouldn't be bigger than these guys. It would be same day weigh-in. Period. Period, point blank. Fighters then fought at the true weight class. And I say this time and time again. And this is just my own opinion. If you're rehydrating more than 8 pounds of the weight class that you fight in, you're no longer fighting at that weight class. And I know that's just the way it is in this era. It is what it is. But Lomachenko is going to be fighting a welterweight, a junior welterweight possibly, on fight night. But that's this era. But if Haney fought in the era back in the days, he would be a welterweight at the least. And he would have to fight guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, Carmen Basilio, and he's getting mauled. Carmen Basilio would dog him out. Because the referee The referee's not going to let you fight pretty. The referee's not going to let you dance. The referee's going to let you get your butt whooped. Anyway, I got to cut the video short. This is just part one. I'm going to make a part two.